Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Transfer news. Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic has given us an interesting update with regards to Manchester United's pursuit of a number 9 for the upcoming season, and of course for Ruben Amorim's new Manchester United, if we want to put it that way. Now, of course, I did speak about this in previous videos with regards to Manchester United choosing a striker as the next target for the player they would like to bring in. And you did see Benjamin Sesko on their thumbnail. And Laurie Whitwell has reported that the club will now decide between Ollie Watkins or Benjamin Sesko as the two players that they are trying to look at who is best for Ruben Amorim's system, and of course where we are as a club right now. He also reported that Nicholas Jackson is no longer a target for Manchester United, which is good news in my opinion. There has also been reports with regards to Jadon Sancho. He is, and the club is still in talks with Juventus, and Borussia Dortmund became another option for Jadon Sancho after the club dropped his selling price, and that will then give us more options in order to either go for a Benjamin Sesko, who is reported to at least up to 70 million in terms of bringing him in, and for Ollie Watkins, you're looking at between 40 to 55 to 60 million in bringing him in. So it's not just about the finances, it's about the two of them in terms of their characteristics as strikers, because they are not the same player, even though they do have similar traits in terms of their attacking arsenal, but they are two different players. So let us focus on Ollie Watkins for a few moments. Now, here is a player that is a consistent, good enough goal scorer in the Premier League and has had consistent seasons since he's come into the Premier League with Aston Villa. If you do remember, he also played for Brentford alongside Brian Mbumo, so there could be a bit of a thought by Amorim and maybe the backroom staff that perhaps a credible but also consistent link can be applied on the pitch, not just off the pitch in terms of Ollie Watkins and his quality. Now, as I said, he's a good enough goal scorer. You saw the ability that he has with Aston Villa. He's able to run in behind. He's able to hold up the ball and link up play with his midfielders and, of course, other teammates. He's very good in the air as well. Can finish with either foot, and is also quite good at assisting, certain goals and making spaces for his teammates to exploit and score from. These are things that is more expected of an all-around striker, which Ollie Watkins has, in a sense, perfected in the Premier League. And let's be honest, when we have faced him, he has been a threat to our defense, and he certainly has shown that he can play at a high level, most notably in the Champions League now recently. You saw against the likes of PSG, who are the current European champions, that he had a good performance. And there was a debate with regards to Rashford when he was on loan there, kind of putting him on the bench, but it wasn't necessarily Rashford putting him on the bench. It was more the likes Aston Villa trying something different with regards to how they approach certain games, especially European games. So for me, Ollie Watkins is more of a sure, more of a guarantee in terms on having success in Manchester United and in terms of working alongside Acuna, Mbumo, Bruno, Ahmad, etc., all of the chance creators that we currently have. Now, of course, Benjamin Sesko is a player that has got high potential. Yes, there is the obvious and ongoing debate of can he prove it in the Premier League. You've seen the likes of Jadon Sancho come from Germany to the Premier League and it hasn't gone well for him. The outlier is Erling Haaland, who came from Dortmund to the Premier League and again still continues to be a lethal goal scorer. It's not necessarily a very good transition to look at going from the Bundesliga to the Premier League. And Benjamin Sesko might be a player that can become a world-class player, but in terms of where we are right now as a club, he would come in and be probably the first choice, of course, but he will still be in competition with Højlund, who is also a player that has still, if you want to believe in him as a striker at Manchester United, there is high potential for him to be a world-class goal scorer. But of course, the option could also be that the club might sell Rasmus Højlund, of course, and then bringing in Benjamin Sesko. But Fabrizio Romano has put out a report saying that Christopher Weaver, our head of recruitment, is pushing for the club to sign Benjamin Sesko. Now, Benjamin Sesko, he has very good connections with Christopher Wevel because Wevel himself brought Benjamin Sesko from RB Salzburg all the way to RB Leipzig. And that is the reason why it is more, in a sense, easier for us to get that deal done than rather struggling with Aston Villa in order for them to balance their books because they are in a bit of a financial rut. So with us wanting Ollie Watkins, they might not want to sell him, but that's just them saying they want a higher price. So you could easily be looking at them asking between 55 to 60 million, even more than that for Ollie Watkins, because again, he is the starting striker, so they would want a high fee for him, especially knowing that he's going to a club that is needing a striker. So they have an advantage in a bit of their negotiations, whereas with Benjamin Sesko, as I said, Wevel can definitely ease the negotiations and make it much more easier for Benjamin Sesko to come to Manchester United. Now, on Benjamin Sesko, can he prove it in the Premier League? A lot of people are saying that yes, he can. He has the physical attributes. He's got pace, he's got power, lethal in the air. We've seen quite a bit of him in the Champions League, of course. His finishing is excellent as well. Very, very audacious in the way he normally tries to finish, takes chances from various angles in a sense of a Victor Osimhen, where if the ball seems to be in a position that is impossible to get for most strikers in the world, there seems to be a way for the likes of Benjamin Sesko to reach out and get it. And you can see this when you look at his highlights, when you look at the way he positions himself, to achieve these types of touches within the pitch. He can link up play, can run in behind like Ollie Watkins, is a good finisher, as I said. So, as I said, they're two different players, but very similar in terms of their characteristics. It is just the one is Premier League proven and the other still has to prove it in the Premier League. Now again, in terms of goals, Benjamin Sesko hasn't been having a world-class season where he's scored goals for fun. No, but there has been a sense of consistency and also an upward trajectory in him and his numbers with regards to scoring goals. He can, assist for his teammates as well, but not as much as a Ollie Watkins, who is more likely to be smarter in certain positions, in finding his teammates. Whereas Benjamin Sesko wants to be that last point, when it comes to a move that needs to be executed. He wants to be that final touch before the ball goes into the net. He wants to be at the end of crosses more likely than a Ollie Watkins, who would look to more link-up play than actually try to be the last man to finish off a move. So it will come down to who the club wants and who they decide to bring in. For me, I want Ollie Watkins because of where we are right now as a club, needing players to come in and be Premier League proven so that we can have a good season, and then from then onwards, have a sense of getting into one of the European places, Champions League, most preferably, obviously, and then we look to bring in players that can take us that one level higher, where we can maybe gamble on a player like a Benjamin Sesko, who has world-class potential, but we need to first give him a season or two to get used to the Premier League, get used to, playing for Manchester United, etc. But on the other hand, the club, like I said, Wevel, is pushing the club to sign Benjamin Sesko, so their mindset might be in a longer term. They definitely do see him as a player that can come in and start for Manchester United. Whether he's ready, if they sign him, we'll have to wait and see on that. But for me, where we are right now, Ollie Watkins is the option that is out there, and he is also cheaper. If we can get a good deal with Aston Villa done, then we perhaps can look at bringing in a midfielder. And that is another crucial area that Manchester United needs to solve, not just for Ruben Amorim and his system, but as a team, as a club, because for years, ever since Michael Carrick and the likes of Paul Scholes have retired, we haven't had good midfielders that can provide a good enough base for us to play from, and of course to not be run through. Because even against West Ham in that first pre-season game, there were moments, especially the goal from Jared Bowen, where basically you could see Mainu and Ugarte were chasing backwards, and it took 1 to 2 passes before West Ham completely bypassed our midfield. So that is an area of concern for me once we do get the striker on the line. But you let me know in the comments who you want Manchester United to sign Ollie Watkins or Benjamin Sesko? I would love to hear your opinions. And of course, subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and have a wonderful day further. Till we see each other again soon in the next one, the Devils. Bye bye. Thanks for watching. If you want more content on Manchester United, like, share, and subscribe.